The evening sun cast a golden glow over Unity City, its skyscrapers gleaming against the horizon while the hum of street vendors and motorbikes filled the air. Emily Carter stood in front of her cracked bedroom mirror, smoothing the hem of her self-designed dress, a flowing gown of deep indigo, stitched with intricate gold patterns that shimmered like stars. Welcome to Sarah Wood's Tale. Where stories comes alive, please do well to hit that subscription button and turn on your notification bell for subsequent stories. At 25, she was a dreamer, her heart set on becoming a fashion designer despite her modest roots in Unity City's slums. Tonight, she felt like she was stepping into a new chapter. Her boyfriend, James Harper, had invited her to his family's mansion to celebrate his promotion to junior partner at a prestigious law firm. For Emily, it was more than a dinner, it was a chance to prove she belonged in his world. "Ma, how do I look?" Emily asked, turning to her mother, Grace, who sat on their worn couch, mending a pair of trousers. Grace's eyes softened. "Like a queen, my girl. That dress is your heart in fabric. James is lucky to have you." Emily blushed, tucking a braid behind her ear. "I just want his family to like me. They're different. You know, big money, big name." Grace stood, placing a warm hand on Emily's cheek. "You're enough, Emily. Don't let anyone make you feel small." With those words in her heart, Emily stepped into the night, her sandals clicking on the uneven pavement as she boarded a rickety bus to the Harper estate. The mansion loomed like a palace, its gates guarded by towering palms. Inside, chandeliers sparkled, and the air smelled of jasmine and roasted lamb. James greeted her at the door, his tailored suit hugging his broad frame. At 28, he was charming, with a smile that could sway a courtroom or break a heart. "You're stunning," he whispered, kissing her cheek. "Come meet everyone." The dining room was a sea of faces, James's parents, Thomas and Helen, his younger sister Sarah, his cousins, and aunts, all dressed in designer clothes that screamed wealth. Emily's dress, though beautiful, felt suddenly homemade. She smiled through her nerves, shaking hands and exchanging pleasantries. Thomas, a stern man with a graying beard, barely glanced at her. Helen's smile was polite but cold. Sarah, though, gave Emily a shy nod, her eyes kind. Dinner began with clinking glasses and laughter. James beamed as his father toasted his promotion. Emily listened quietly, her heart swelling with pride for him. Then, during a lull, Sarah mentioned a family argument from years ago, laughing it off. Emily, trying to join in, said, "Families are tricky, right? Mine's small, but we've had our share of drama too." The room went silent. James's smile vanished. Thomas's fork clattered against his plate. Emily's stomach twisted. Had she said something wrong? James leaned toward her, his voice low but sharp. "What did you just say?" I just meant families have ups and downs," Emily stammered, her cheeks burning. "It's normal." "Normal?" James's voice rose, drawing every eye. "You think you can sit here and talk about my family like that? In our home?" Emily froze. "James, I didn't mean. You disrespected us," he cut her off, standing now. His eyes blazed with something she'd never seen, pride, maybe, or insecurity. "You don't get to walk into my family's house and make jokes about us." "James, please," Emily whispered, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry if I upset you." "Sorry's not enough," he snapped. He pointed to the floor. "Kneel. Apologize to my family. Now." The word hit like a slap. "Kneel." Emily's breath caught. She looked around, hoping someone would speak up. Thomas stared at his plate. Helen sipped her wine. Sarah's eyes were wide, but she said nothing. The cousins whispered, their smirks cutting deeper than any words. "James, Emily's voice cracked. Tears stung her eyes. She loved him. She wanted to fix this. Maybe if she did what he asked, he'd forgive her. Maybe they could move past this. Slowly, her knees buckled. She sank to the floor, the cold tiles biting through her dress. Tears streamed down her face as she choked out, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect anyone. Please forgive me." The silence was deafening. No one spoke. No one helped her up. James stood over her, his face unreadable. Finally, he said, "Get up. You've embarrassed yourself enough. Emily rose, her legs shaking. She couldn't look at anyone. Her dress, once a symbol of her dreams, felt like a costume now. Without a word, she grabbed her purse and ran out, the sound of her sobs echoing in the grand hallway. Outside, the night air was thick with the scent of rain. Emily stumbled down the street, her heels catching on the pavement. Her heart screamed with shame, but a tiny spark of defiance flickered deep inside. As she boarded a bus back to the slums, she whispered to herself, "Never again. I'll never let anyone break me like this." Emily's humiliation was a raw, gaping wound, her tears a mix of heartbreak and rage. The Harper family's silence was a betrayal as cruel as James's words, stripping her of dignity. Yet her vow in the dark was the first step toward something greater. Emily fled into the night, her promise to herself ringing in the air, a vow not to be broken again. Viral hook. She knelt to save her love, but lost herself until she rose. The slums of Unity City were alive with noise, children shouting, radios blaring, and the clatter of pots from roadside food stalls. Emily sat on the sagging couch in her mother's one-room home, staring at the wall. It had been 3 days since the dinner, and the memory of kneeling before James's family played on a loop in her mind. Her indigo dress lay crumpled in a corner, a reminder of her shattered dreams. At 25, she felt like her future had been stolen. Grace bustled in from the market, her arms full of vegetables. She took one look at Emily's red-rimmed eyes and set the bags down. "My girl, you can't keep doing this to yourself," she said, sitting beside her. "That boy doesn't deserve your tears." "He made me kneel, Ma," Emily whispered, her voice hoarse. "In front of everyone. And they just watched." Grace's face hardened. "James Harper is a small man with a big ego. You're bigger than him, Emily. You always have been." Emily shook her head, tears spilling. "I'm nothing. I thought I could be someone, make dresses, build a name. But who am I? Just a girl from the slums." Grace pulled her close, stroking her braids. "You're my daughter. You're a fire that won't go out. Don't let one night burn away your dreams." But Emily couldn't hear her. The shame was too heavy. She spent her days in a haze, ignoring calls from her best friend, Lily Morgan. Her sketchbook, once filled with vibrant designs, sat untouched. Every pencil stroke felt like a lie. Who was she to dream of fashion when she couldn't even stand up for herself? On the 4th day, Lily barged in, her journalist's notepad tucked under her arm. At 24, she was a whirlwind, sharp-tongued and fiercely loyal. "Emily Carter, you look like a ghost," she said, plopping onto the couch. "Enough of this. You're not dying because of James Harper." "Lily, you don't get it," Emily muttered, pulling her knees to her chest. "I humiliated myself. I can't just move on." Lily's eyes softened, but her voice was firm. "You didn't humiliate yourself. James did that. He's the one who should be ashamed, not you. You're talented, Emily. Those dresses you make. They're magic. Don't let him steal that from you." Emily's gaze drifted to her sketchbook. "What's the point? I'm not good enough." Lily grabbed the sketchbook and flipped it open, pointing to a sketch of a flowing gown. "This is you. This is your heart. James doesn't get to define you. You do." Emily's chest tightened. She wanted to believe Lily, but the pain was too raw. In a sudden burst of anger, she snatched the sketchbook and stormed outside to the small courtyard. A rusty oil drum sat there, used for burning trash. Emily tore pages from the book, her designs crumpling in her hands. "It's over," she said, tossing them into the drum. She lit a match, watching the flames devour her dreams. The smoke stung her eyes, but she didn't cry. She felt empty. Grace appeared at the door, her face etched with worry. "Emily, stop this," she said, rushing over. She grabbed Emily's hands, pulling her away from the fire. "Those drawings were your gift. Why are you destroying yourself?" "Because I'm not enough," Emily shouted, her voice breaking. "I tried, Ma. I tried to be someone. And I failed." Grace knelt in front of her, her eyes fierce with love. "Listen to me, Emily Carter. You are not their verdict. You are not what James says you are. You are God's masterpiece, and he's not done with you yet." She pulled Emily into a hug, whispering a prayer, "Lord, lift my girl up. Show her the strength you put in her." Emily clung to her mother, the words sinking into her broken heart. They didn't heal her, but they planted a tiny seed of hope, a flicker she couldn't yet see. The next morning, Emily woke to the sound of Grace humming a hymn. A worn envelope lay on the table, addressed to Emily. She opened it with trembling hands. It was from Unity Fashion Academy, a school she'd applied to months ago, before James, before the dinner. "Dear Ms. Carter," it read, "we are pleased to offer you a partial scholarship based on your submitted portfolio." Emily's breath caught. She read the letter again, her heart pounding. Was this a sign? A chance to start over? She looked at Grace, who smiled through tears. "See, my girl? Your story's not over." Grace's prayer and unwavering love gave Emily a lifeline, a faint hope that she could rise again, even if she couldn't feel it yet. The burning of her sketches was a low point, but the letter was a spark in the darkness. The scholarship letter sat in Emily's hands, a door to a new beginning if she could find the courage to walk through it. In her darkest hour, a spark refused to die. The Unity Fashion Academy stood at the edge of Unity City's downtown, its glass walls gleaming under the morning sun. Emily Carter clutched her worn sketchbook, her heart pounding as she stepped through the doors. At 25, she felt like an imposter among the polished students who strutted in designer shoes and chatted about vacations abroad. Her partial scholarship had gotten her here, but the memory of kneeling before James Harper's family still clung to her like a shadow. Could she really belong in a place like this? The classroom buzzed with energy, bolts of fabric scattered on tables, sewing machines humming, and students sketching with confidence. Emily found a seat at the back, her faded jeans and simple blouse stark against the sea of trendy outfits. The professor, a wiry woman named Ms. Clara, announced their first project, design a garment inspired by someone who shaped you. Emily's mind went to her mother, Grace, her rock, her light through the darkness. "Emily, you're quiet," Ms. Clara said during a class discussion. "What's your idea?" Emily hesitated, her voice soft. "I'm thinking of a dress for my mom. She's strong, like, she never gives up, no matter what. I want it to feel like her." Ms. Clara nodded. "That's a good start. Show us her strength in your design." Over the next week, Emily poured her heart into the project. She sketched a flowing gown in deep green, the color of hope, with bold stitching that mimicked the roots of a tree, Grace's unyielding spirit. She worked late in the school's studio, her fingers aching as she sewed by hand, unable to afford a machine. But doubts gnawed at her. The other students came from money, their designs backed by expensive fabrics and private tutors. What could her slum-born dress possibly say? On presentation day, Emily stood nervously as her dress was displayed on a mannequin. The green fabric caught the light, and the stitched roots seemed to pulse with life. Ms. Clara examined it closely, her lips curving into a rare smile. "This is raw, Emily. It's honest. There's a story here, and it's powerful." The class clapped, but Emily's relief was short-lived. As she stepped into the hallway, she overheard two classmates, Chloe and Rachel, whispering near the lockers. "It's nice, I guess," Chloe said, smirking. "But you can tell she's from the slums. That dress screams poor." Rachel giggled. "Right. She's trying so hard to fit in." Emily's chest tightened. She ducked into a bathroom, her breath shaky. The words cut deeper than she expected, dragging her back to that night at the Harper mansion, kneeling in shame. Maybe she didn't belong here. Maybe she was fooling herself. That afternoon, a guest lecturer visited a man named Michael Stone, a renowned designer whose bold, soulful collections had taken Unity City by storm. At 50, he had a warm smile and eyes that seemed to see through people. He walked the class through his latest line, then paused by Emily's dress, still on display. "Who made this?" he asked, his voice carrying a quiet authority. Emily raised her hand, her stomach flipping. "Me, sir." Michael studied the dress, then her. "Tell me about it." "It's for my mom," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "She's the strongest person I know. She raised me alone, kept me going even when I wanted to give up. The roots, they're her, holding me up." Michael nodded, his gaze kind. You've got something special here. Not just talent, heart. That's rare. After class, he called Emily aside. You look like you're carrying a weight, he said gently. Want to talk? Emily hesitated, then the words spilled out. I don't know if I belong here. Everyone's so perfect. They look at me like I'm nothing. Like I'm just a girl from the slums. Michael's face softened. Let me tell you something, Emily. I grew up in a shack smaller than your classroom. No shoes, no food some days. People told me I'd never be anything. But I kept going, because my dreams were bigger than their doubts. You've got that fire in you. Don't let anyone dim it. His words hit like a spark. For the first time in weeks, Emily felt a flicker of belief in herself. Maybe she wasn't an imposter. Maybe she could rise. That evening, the academy hosted a small showcase for students to network with local designers. Emily wore a simple dress she'd made, her nerves buzzing as she mingled. She was chatting with a classmate when a familiar voice froze her in place. Emily. James Harper stood across the room, his suit crisp, his eyes wide with surprise. I didn't expect to see you here. Her heart raced, the memory of that humiliating night flooding back. He stepped closer, his voice soft. Can we talk? I owe you an apology. Michael's story of overcoming poverty lit a fire in Emily, giving her the courage to believe in her talent. His words were a lifeline, pulling her from the edge of self-doubt. James's sudden appearance reopened old wounds, leaving Emily torn between running and facing him. Viral hook. From ashes, she began to weave her glory. Emily stood rooted to the spot at the Unity Fashion Academy showcase, the chatter of the crowd fading as James Harper approached. His familiar cologne hit her like a wave, dragging her back to that night, the cold tiles, the weight of his family's stares. He looked the same, maybe a little tired, his charm dulled by something she couldn't place. At 28, he was still the man she'd loved, but now he was a stranger. Emily, please, James said, his voice low. Just hear me out. She crossed her arms, her throat tight. What do you want, James? He glanced around, then stepped closer. I messed up. That night. I was wrong. I let my family's expectations get to me. I'm not that guy anymore. I've changed. Emily's chest burned with a mix of anger and hurt. Changed? You made me kneel, James. In front of everyone. You broke me. His face crumpled. I know. I hate myself for it. I'm engaged now, to someone my parents approve of, but I can't stop thinking about you. I need you to forgive me. The word engaged hit like a punch. Emily's eyes stung, but she refused to cry. You don't get to come here and ask for forgiveness just to feel better. You don't get to fix this. James reached for her hand, but she pulled back. Emily, I'm sorry. I'll do anything to make it right. There's nothing you can do, she said, her voice steady despite the storm inside. I'm not that girl anymore. Stay away from me. She turned and walked away, her heart pounding as she pushed through the crowd, ignoring his calls. Back at her mother's home in the slums, Emily sat on the couch, staring at her sketchbook. Grace was at the market, and the quiet felt heavy. James's words echoed in her mind, stirring up pain she thought she'd buried. But something else stirred too, a fire. She grabbed a pencil and began sketching, her hand moving furiously. The designs were bold, jagged, raw gowns that screamed strength, defiance, survival. She named the collection Unbroken, each piece a piece of her journey from shame to power. The next day, Emily was sketching in the Academy's studio when her phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Can we meet? It's Sarah Harper. I need to talk. Emily's stomach twisted. Sarah, James's younger sister, had been kind that night, but she'd still stayed silent. Why was she reaching out now? They met at a small cafe near the Academy, the air thick with the smell of coffee and fried plantains. Sarah, 20 and soft-spoken, fidgeted with her napkin. I'm sorry for bothering you, she said. I couldn't keep quiet anymore. Quiet about what? Emily asked, her voice guarded. Sarah looked down. My family. They still talk about you, Emily. My dad, especially. He says you were never good enough for James, that you're lowly. They're glad he's engaged to someone better. I hate it. I admire you, and I'm so sorry for what we did. Emily's jaw tightened. The Harpers' disdain wasn't a surprise, but hearing it stung. Why tell me this now, Sarah? Because you deserve to know, Sarah said, her eyes teary. And because I want to help. If there's anything I can do. Emily shook her head. I don't need your help. I'm building something for myself. But thank you for being honest. She left the cafe, her mind racing. The Harpers thought she was nothing. She'd show them how wrong they were. That evening, Emily met Lily Morgan at their favorite roadside food stall, the air filled with the sizzle of grilled meat. Lily, her journalist friend, listened as Emily poured out the story, James's apology, Sarah's confession, the pain that wouldn't let go. That family's trash, Lily said, stabbing a piece of chicken. You're better than all of them, Emily. The world needs to know what they did to you. Emily frowned. What do you mean? Lily grinned. I mean a story. I know a blogger who'd eat this up. Your humiliation, your comeback, it's powerful. Let me share it. Anonymously, if you want. Emily hesitated. The idea of her pain going public scared her, but it also felt like reclaiming her story. Okay, she said finally. Do it. But don't use my name yet. 2 days later, Lily texted her a link. The blog post, titled A Woman's Shame, A Family's Cruelty, detailed Emily's story without naming her. It spread like wildfire, shared across Unity City's blogs and X posts. Comments poured in. She's a queen. That family's disgusting. Emily read them, her heart swelling with a strange mix of pride and fear. Her pain was out there, but so was her strength. Emily's unbroken collection was her heart poured into fabric, a defiant response to the Harpers' cruelty. Sarah's confession and the viral story marked a turning point, transforming her pain into power. The blog post went viral, thrusting Emily's story into the spotlight and setting the stage for her rise. Her pain became her power, and the world noticed. Unity City buzzed with the energy of approaching Fashion Week, its streets alive with colorful billboards and the chatter of trendsetters. Emily Carter, now 25, sat in the cramped studio of Unity Fashion Academy, her unbroken collection taking shape on mannequins around her. The viral blog post about her humiliation at the hands of James Harper's family had sparked a firestorm online. Influencers on X shared photos of her green gown from the school showcase, praising its raw, soulful design. Comments flooded in. This is real art. Her story is everything. Emily's heart raced every time Lily, her journalist friend, sent her a new screenshot. Could this be her moment? Emily, check this. Lily burst into the studio, waving her phone. A fashion vlogger with 200,000 followers just called you Unity City's next big thing. You're blowing up. Emily's eyes widened. For real. But it's just one dress. It's not just a dress, Lily said, grinning. It's you. People see your heart in it. Keep going. The attention led to a call from the Unity Fashion Week organizers. They offered Emily a slot to showcase her unbroken collection, a dream opportunity for any young designer. But there was a catch. She needed to produce 5 more pieces in 3 weeks, and her scholarship didn't cover materials. Emily's savings were barely enough for thread. That evening, she sat with her mother, Grace, in their small home in Unity City's slums. The single bulb overhead flickered as Emily explained her dilemma. Ma, I don't know how to make this work. Fabric, beads, everything, it's so expensive. Grace's face was calm, her eyes warm. You'll find a way, my girl. You always do. The next day, Emily returned from class to find Grace waiting at the door, a small cloth pouch in her hand. Take this, Grace said, pressing it into Emily's palm. Emily opened it and gasped. Inside were Grace's prized gold earrings and necklace, heirlooms from her own mother. Ma, no. These are all you have left from Grandma. You can't sell them. Grace smiled, her voice firm. They're just metal, Emily. Your dreams are worth more. Sell them, get what you need. Make those dresses shine. Tears welled in Emily's eyes. She hugged Grace tightly, overwhelmed by her mother's sacrifice. I'll make you proud, Ma. I promise. With the money from the jewelry, Emily bought vibrant fabrics, deep reds, bold yellows, and rich blues that echoed Unity City's spirit. She worked late into the nights, her fingers blistered from sewing. Each gown in the unbroken collection told a piece of her story, one with jagged stitching for her pain, another with flowing layers for her hope. Her classmates, inspired by her drive, lent her tools and shared tips, but Emily felt the weight of proving herself. 2 days before Fashion Week, Emily held a final fitting in the studio. She slipped into the centerpiece gown, a crimson dress with gold embroidery that swirled like flames. As she stood before the mirror, her reflection took her breath away. The girl who had knelt in shame was gone. In her place was a woman, fierce and unbroken. For the first time, Emily felt truly powerful, her heart swelling with a strength she hadn't known she had. "Wow," Lily said, snapping a photo. "You look like you could rule the world." Emily laughed, her voice shaky. "I just want to make it through the show." "You will," Lily said. "The world's already watching." But not everyone was cheering. At the Harper mansion, James's father, Thomas, sat with his wife, Helen, and James, their faces grim as they scrolled through X posts about Emily's rise. The viral blog post had humiliated them, painting their family as cruel elitists. Thomas slammed his phone down. "This girl is dragging our name through the mud. She's nobody, a slum rat. We need to stop her." James frowned, his voice hesitant. "Dad, maybe we should just let it go. She's not worth it." "Not worth it," Thomas snapped. "She's making us a laughingstock. I have contacts at Fashion Week. We'll make sure her little show never happens." Helen nodded, her lips tight. She needs to learn her place. Seeing herself in the unbroken gown, Emily felt a surge of power, her transformation from shame to strength crystallized. Grace's sacrifice fueled her gratitude and resolve. As Emily prepared for her big moment, the Harpers plotted to sabotage her show, threatening her dreams. Viral hook ***. She stitched her scars into art, and the world bowed. The night before Unity Fashion Week, Emily worked in the Academy's studio, her unbroken collection nearly complete. The air smelled of fabric dye and coffee, the only things keeping her awake. Her 5 gowns hung on racks, each one a testament to her journey. She was exhausted but hopeful, her heart set on tomorrow's runway. Lily had promised to live tweet the show, and Grace would be in the front row. This was Emily's chance to shine. But when Emily arrived at the studio at dawn, her heart stopped. The racks were empty. Her gown's hours of work, Grace's sacrifice, were gone. A note pinned to the wall read, "Know your place." Panic surged through her. She called the Fashion Week organizer, only to learn her runway slot had been cancelled due to a scheduling error. Emily's knees buckled. This wasn't a coincidence. The Harpers' wealth and connections ran deep in Unity City. She knew they were behind this. Emily sank to the floor, tears streaming. "They took everything," she whispered to herself. "I can't fight this." Her phone buzzed. It was Sarah Harper, James's younger sister. "Emily, I'm outside the academy. Please, let me in." Against her better judgment, Emily opened the door. Sarah, 20 and nervous, stood in the morning light, her eyes red. "I heard my dad talking," she said, her voice trembling. "He paid someone to steal your dresses and cancel your slot. I'm so sorry. I want to help. I can tell everyone what they did." Emily's anger flared. "Why should I trust you, Sarah? You sat there that night, just like the rest of them." Sarah's face crumpled. "I know. I was scared. But I'm trying to do right now. Please, let me help you expose them." Emily shook her head, her voice firm. "I don't need you to fight my battles. I'll find my own way." She turned away, her mind racing. She wouldn't let the Harpers win. Not again. She called Lily, who arrived with Grace in tow. The 3 women stood in the empty studio, the weight of the sabotage heavy. "We can't give up," Lily said, her eyes fierce. "You've got friends, Emily. Let's rebuild." Grace nodded, her voice steady. "Your ma didn't raise a quitter. Those dresses came from your heart. You can make them again." Emily wiped her tears, a spark of defiance igniting. "Okay. Let's do this. But I'll need help. Lily sent a group text to Emily's classmates, explaining the theft. By noon, the studio was filled with students, some Emily barely knew, carrying spare fabric, needles, and sewing machines. We've got you, said Aisha, a classmate who'd once been distant. Your designs are fire. Let's make this happen. The group worked through the day and into the night, recreating the unbroken collection from memory. Emily sketched furiously, guiding her classmates as they cut and sewed. Grace brought food from the market, keeping everyone fed. Lily documented the effort on X, posting, "They tried to stop her, but she's unstoppable." #unbroken. The hashtag trended locally, drawing more support. As dawn broke, 4 gowns were complete, not perfect, but alive with Emily's spirit. She was stitching the final piece when her phone rang. It was the Fashion Week organizer. "Ms. Carter, your slot's been reinstated." A sponsor demanded it. "You're on at 8 p.m. Emily's heart leaped. "Who's the sponsor?" "They want to stay anonymous," the organizer said. "But they're a big name." After hanging up, Emily shared the news, and the studio erupted in cheers. But later, Aisha pulled her aside. "I heard a rumor," she whispered. "It's Michael Stone, the designer. He's the one who got you back in." Emily's brow furrowed. Michael, her mentor, had been supportive, but why hide his role? Was he expecting something in return? Her trust wavered, but she pushed the thought aside. She had a show to prepare for. The collective effort of Lily, Grace, and her classmates turned Emily's despair into determination, reinforcing her strength and community. Their support was a powerful reminder that she wasn't alone. With her slot reinstated by a mysterious sponsor revealed to be Michael, Emily faced new questions about his motives as she prepared for the runway. They tried to bury her, but she was a seed. The Unity Fashion Week venue was a dazzling spectacle, its massive hall lit by cascading chandeliers and packed with Unity City's elite designers, influencers, and global buyers. Emily Carter stood backstage, her heart pounding as she adjusted the hem of a gown on one of her models. At 25, she was no longer the girl who knelt in shame before James Harper's family. Her unbroken collection, reborn after the Harper's sabotage, was about to take the runway. The air buzzed with anticipation, and Lily Morgan, her journalist friend, was already tweeting updates. "Emily Carter's about to shake the world." #unbroken. Emily peeked through the curtain. The crowd was a sea of faces, their chatter mingling with the thumping music. She spotted Grace, her mother, in the front row, her simple market dress a stark contrast to the designer outfits around her. Grace's proud smile steadied Emily's nerves. This show wasn't just for her, it was for Grace, for every sacrifice, for every prayer. "Emily, we're ready," said Aisha, a classmate who'd helped recreate the collection. The models, a mix of students and local talents, stood tall in Emily's gowns, each piece a story of pain, defiance, and hope. The crimson dress with flame-like embroidery, the yellow gown with jagged stitching, the blue one with flowing layers, they were Emily's heart in fabric. The lights dimmed, and the music swelled. The first model stepped onto the runway, her crimson gown catching the spotlight. The crowd gasped as the embroidery shimmered, telling a story of rising from ashes. One by one, the models strode with confidence, their movements echoing the strength in Emily's designs. Influencers snapped photos, their phones flashing, while buyers scribbled notes. X posts exploded. "This is ART. Who is Emily Carter? She's a genius." Backstage, Emily's hands shook as she prepared the final model, Grace. The idea had come to her during the frantic recreation of the collection. Grace deserved to shine, to show the world the woman who'd held her up. The final gown, named Faith, was a deep emerald with delicate gold threading that formed a tree, its roots spreading across the skirt. It was Grace's resilience, her love, in every stitch. "Ma, you sure about this?" Emily asked, adjusting the gown on Grace. "You don't have to walk." Grace chuckled, her eyes sparkling. "My girl, I've walked tougher roads than this runway. Let me show them what we're made of." As the music shifted to a soulful melody, Grace stepped onto the runway. The crowd fell silent, then erupted in cheers. Grace moved with quiet dignity, her head high, the emerald gown glowing under the lights. Every step told their story: poverty, struggle, unbreakable love. Emily watched from backstage, tears streaming down her face. This was her mother, her hero, shining for the world. When Grace reached the end of the runway, she paused, her gaze finding Emily's. She raised a fist, a silent promise. We made it. The crowd leaped to their feet, their applause thundering through the hall. Influencers posted videos captioned, "This moment broke me." Buyers whispered about signing Emily. For Emily, the ovation was more than praise, it washed away years of shame, replacing it with pride. She wasn't the girl who knelt anymore. She was unstoppable. After the show, Emily joined Grace in the front row, hugging her tightly. "You were amazing, Ma," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You did this, Emily," Grace replied, squeezing her hand. "You turned pain into beauty." The after-party was a whirlwind of music, champagne, and congratulations. Emily, in a simple black dress she'd made, mingled with designers and influencers, her heart full. Lily darted around, snapping photos and tweeting, "Emily Carter just owned Fashion Week. #unbroken." But as Emily laughed with Aisha, a familiar voice cut through the noise. "Emily." James Harper stood at the edge of the crowd, his suit rumpled, his eyes desperate. The room quieted as he stepped forward, his voice loud. "I need to talk to you. I'm sorry for everything. Please, forgive me." Emily froze, the joy of the night replaced by a flood of memories, his demand to kneel, the silence of his family. All eyes were on her, waiting for her response. The crowd's standing ovation, especially for Grace's walk, erased Emily's lingering shame, filling her with a profound sense of triumph and love. It was a moment of resurrection, not just for her but for their shared journey. James's public plea at the after-party thrust Emily back into the pain of her past, leaving her to decide how to face him. Her comeback wasn't revenge, it was resurrection. The after-party's vibrant energy stalled as James Harper stood before Emily, his voice echoing in the crowded hall. The DJ lowered the music, and influencers angled their phones, sensing drama. Emily's heart raced, her triumph from the runway now tangled with the pain of that night 5 years ago. James looked different, his charm faded, his eyes heavy with regret. At 28, he was a man unraveling. "Emily, please," James said, his voice breaking. "I know I hurt you. I was wrong to make you kneel, to let my family treat you like that. My engagement fell apart, my fiancé left because of my family's pressure. I'm not the man I was. I need your forgiveness." The crowd murmured, some filming, others whispering. Emily's hands clenched, her mind flashing to the cold tiles of the Harper mansion, the weight of their stares. She wanted to scream, to run, but she stood tall, her voice steady. "James, you don't get to walk in here and ask for forgiveness just to ease your guilt. You broke me that night. You don't get to decide when I heal." James's face crumpled. "I know I don't deserve it. But I'm trying to be better. Please, Emily." Before she could respond, a new voice boomed through the hall. "Enough of this nonsense." Thomas Harper, James's father, stormed in, his graying beard bristling with anger. Helen, his wife, trailed behind, her face tight. The crowd parted as Thomas pointed at Emily. "You've spread lies about our family, girl. That blog post, this circus. Retract it all, or I'll sue you for everything you have." Emily's stomach twisted, but she didn't flinch. The fear she'd once felt for Thomas was gone. "Lies," she said, her voice clear. "You watched your son humiliate me. You called me lowly, said I'd never be good enough. The truth isn't a lie, Mr. Harper. It's just loud now." The crowd gasped, phones capturing every word. Lily, standing nearby, tweeted, "Emily Carter just called out the Harpers. This is iconic. #unbroken." Thomas's face reddened. "You're nothing," he spat. "A slum rat with a sewing needle. You'll fall, and we'll be there to watch." Before Emily could reply, Sarah Harper pushed through the crowd, her eyes blazing. At 20, she was no longer the silent sister from that night. "Stop it, Dad," she shouted, her voice trembling but firm. "Emily's right. We treated her like garbage. I was there, and I did nothing. I'm done staying quiet." The room fell silent. Helen gasped, "Sarah, how dare you?" But Sarah turned to Emily, tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Emily. You're stronger than all of us. I'm with you." The crowd erupted in cheers, some chanting Emily's name. Thomas's face paled, his authority crumbling. He grabbed Helen's arm and stormed out, but the damage was done. Sarah's stand had fractured the Harper dynasty, their reputation in tatters. Emily felt a weight lift, not from forgiveness, but from self-respect. She didn't need James's apology or Thomas's approval. She had herself. James lingered, his shoulders slumped. "I'll go," he whispered. I wish I'd been better." Emily met his gaze, her voice calm. "I hope you find peace, James. But I don't owe you mine." He nodded and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. As the party resumed, Emily stood with Grace, Lily, and Sarah, their presence a shield. She felt stronger than ever, but a new challenge loomed. A woman in a sleek suit approached, her accent foreign. "Miss Carter, I'm with a global fashion house in Paris. Your collection is extraordinary. We'd like to offer you a deal designed for us, full sponsorship. But you'd need to move to Paris." Emily's breath caught. Paris was a dream, but leaving Unity City meant leaving Grace, her home, her roots. She glanced at her mother, whose proud smile held a trace of sadness. Sarah's public support and Emily's refusal to absolve James marked a powerful moment of self-respect, shattering the Harpers' hold over her. It was a victory of dignity over pain. The Paris offer promised a new chapter, but leaving Unity City posed a heart-wrenching choice. She didn't break their chains, she shattered them. The morning after Unity Fashion Week, Emily Carter sat at the small wooden table in her mother's one-room home in Unity City's slums. The air was thick with the scent of brewing tea and the distant hum of market vendors setting up their stalls. At 25, Emily was still reeling from her triumphant runway show and the dramatic confrontation with the Harper family. Her unbroken collection had taken the city by storm, with influencers and buyers buzzing about her raw, heartfelt designs. But the offer from the Paris fashion house weighed heavily on her mind, a chance to design for a global brand, fully sponsored, but it meant leaving Unity City, her mother Grace, and the community that had shaped her. Emily sipped her tea, her sketchbook open to a blank page. The idea of Paris was dazzling runways, spotlights, a world far from the pain of her past. But every time she imagined it, she saw Grace's face, her quiet strength, and the dusty streets of her neighborhood where she dreamed as a child. Could she leave it all behind? Grace entered, wiping her hands on her apron after a morning at the market. She studied Emily's furrowed brow and sat beside her. "You're thinking about that Paris offer, aren't you?" she asked, her voice gentle. Emily nodded, her throat tight. "It's everything I ever wanted, Ma. Designing for a big fashion house, seeing my clothes in stores across the world. But leaving you, leaving home, it feels wrong." Grace reached for her hand, her calloused fingers warm. "My girl, you fought so hard to get here. You stood up to the Harpers, you made those beautiful dresses. This is your time to shine. Don't stay because of me." "But you gave up everything for me," Emily said, her voice breaking. "Your jewelry, your dreams. How can I just go?" Grace smiled, her eyes soft. "I didn't give up my dreams, Emily. You are my dream. Seeing you rise, that's all I ever wanted. Go to Paris. Make the world know your name." Emily's heart ached. Grace's words were selfless, but they didn't ease the tug-of-war inside her. She needed clarity. That afternoon, she called Lily Morgan, her best friend and a journalist whose sharp wit and fierce loyalty had carried Emily through her darkest days. They met at their favorite roadside food stall, the air filled with the sizzle of grilled yam and the laughter of nearby kids. Lily leaned back in her plastic chair, her notepad tucked away for once. "So, Paris, huh? That's huge, Emily. You'd be crazy not to take it." Emily poked at her food, her voice low. "I know. But what about home? These slums, the people here, they're part of me. If I leave, who's going to show the kids here they can dream big?" Lily raised an eyebrow. "You're already showing them. Your story's all over X Slum Girl Slays Fashion Week. Kids are talking about you. But you can't save everyone if you don't save yourself first. Paris could make you a star. Emily sighed. I don't want to be a star just for me. I want it to mean something. Lily leaned forward, her eyes serious. Then use Paris to build something bigger. Go, make money, come back, and do something for the community. You don't have to choose forever. The idea sparked a flicker of hope, but Emily still felt torn. She needed to reconnect with her roots. The next day, she walked through her old neighborhood, the dusty streets lined with tin-roofed shacks and vibrant market stalls. The sun beat down, and children played soccer with a makeshift ball of rolled-up cloth. As Emily passed a group of young girls sitting under a mango tree, she stopped. They were sketching on scraps of paper, their pencils moving with purpose. Hey, what are you drawing? Emily asked, crouching beside them. A girl, maybe 12, with braids tied in bright beads, looked up shyly. Dresses, like yours. We saw you on TV, Miss Emily. You're from here, and you made it. We want to be like you. Emily's breath caught. The girl handed her a sketch, a simple gown with bold, colorful patterns. It was rough but alive with imagination. Another girl piped up, My ma says you showed the rich folks we're not nothing. I want to make clothes too. Emily's eyes welled with tears. These girls saw her not just as a designer, but as proof that their dreams mattered. She thought of her own childhood, sketching in the dirt, dreaming of a world that seemed out of reach. Leaving for Paris might give her fame, but staying could give these girls a future. That night, Emily sat with Grace and Lily in their small home, the decision clear in her heart. I'm not going to Paris, she said, her voice steady. I want to stay here and start a fashion school for kids like those girls. They need someone to show them they can make it, just like I needed Michael. Grace's face lit up with pride. You're sure, my girl? I'm sure, Emily said, smiling. This is bigger than me. I want to give back. Lily grinned, pulling out her phone. This is going viral. Emily Carter turns down Paris to lift up her community. People are going to lose it. Over the next week, Emily began planning. She met with Michael Stone, her mentor, who offered to help fund the school. His support was invaluable, but during their meeting at his sleek downtown office, he looked tired, his usual energy dimmed. As Emily shared her vision, free classes, sewing machines, mentorship for underprivileged youth, Michael listened quietly, a faint smile on his lips. It's a beautiful plan, Emily, he said, his voice softer than usual. You're building something that'll outlast you. I'm proud. Emily beamed. I couldn't have done this without you, Michael. You saw something in me when I didn't see it myself. Michael's smile faded, and he leaned back in his chair. There's something I need to tell you, he said, his eyes heavy. I'm sick, Emily. Cancer. The doctors say I don't have much time left. Emily's heart stopped. What? No, you're fine. You have to be. Michael shook his head. I've made peace with it. But I want you to carry on my work. My brand, my studio, I'm leaving it to you. You're the only one I trust to keep the heart in it. Emily's throat tightened, tears spilling. Michael, I can't. I'm not ready. You are, he said firmly. You've been ready since the day I saw your first dress. This school, your vision, it's your legacy now, and mine too. She hugged him, her sobs muffled against his shoulder. The weight of his trust, his illness, and her new path settled on her, but it wasn't crushing, it was grounding. She would make him proud. Emily's decision to stay and start a fashion school was a powerful act of love for her community, inspired by the young girls who saw her as their hope. It marked her shift from personal ambition to collective upliftment. Michael's revelation of his terminal illness and his decision to pass his legacy to Emily left her with a profound responsibility, setting the stage for her future. 5 years had passed since Emily Carter's humiliation at the Harper family's dinner, a night that had once defined her. Now, at 30, she stood as a beacon of hope in Unity City. Her fashion school, named Unbroken Threads, had transformed the slums into a hub of creativity. Tin-roofed shacks now neighbored vibrant workshops where young girls and boys learned to sew, sketch, and dream. Emily's designs, bold and soulful, were worn by celebrities and everyday people across the globe, their colors and patterns a testament to her roots. X posts celebrated her as Unity City's daughter, a symbol of resilience who turned pain into purpose. The school's courtyard was alive with laughter on a sunny afternoon, students stitching fabric under the shade of mango trees. Emily walked among them, her simple linen dress swaying as she offered pointers. "Add more color here, Amina," she said to a teenage girl whose sketch burst with reds and yellows. "Let it sing." Amina grinned. "Like your dresses, Miss Emily?" "Exactly," Emily said, winking. "Make it yours." Her mother, Grace, now in her late 50s, helped run the school's operations, her market-honed skills keeping everything organized. Lily Morgan, still Emily's fiercest ally, had become a prominent journalist, her articles about the school drawing donors from across the world. Sarah Harper, who'd broken from her family, volunteered as a mentor, teaching business skills to the students. The community Emily had built was a family, stronger than the one that had once shamed her. Tonight, Emily was set to receive an International Design Award at a gala in Unity City's grandest hotel. The event was a glittering affair, with diplomats, designers, and media filling the ballroom. Emily stood backstage, her emerald gown a nod to the faith dress Grace had worn, shimmering under the lights. She felt nervous but grounded, her journey flashing through her mind, the night she knelt, the runway triumph, the choice to stay. Lily found her backstage, her camera ready. "You ready to make history again?" she asked, grinning. Emily laughed. "I just want to get through my speech without tripping." "You'll be fine," Lily said. "The world's watching." X is already buzzing Emily Carter for the win. The ceremony began, and when Emily's name was called, the crowd rose in a standing ovation. She walked to the podium, her heart full. The award, a crystal statuette, gleamed in her hands as she spoke. "This isn't just for me," she said, her voice clear. "It's for my mother, Grace, who gave me everything. It's for the kids in Unity City's slums, who deserve to dream. It's for every person who's been told they're not enough. You are enough." The crowd cheered, and Emily's eyes found Grace in the front row, tears streaming down her face. She dedicated the award to her mother, her voice breaking. "Ma, you carried me. This is yours too." As Emily stepped off the stage, the crowd parted, and a figure approached. James Harper, now 33, stood before her, his suit plain, his face lined with hardship. He was no longer the polished lawyer she'd known. After his engagement collapsed and his family's reputation crumbled, he'd taken a modest job as a clerk, living quietly. He looked at Emily, his eyes heavy with remorse. "Emily," he said, his voice low. I need to say something." The room hushed, sensing the weight of the moment. Before Emily could speak, James sank to his knees, mirroring the night he'd forced her to do the same. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice trembling. "What I did to you was unforgivable. I've spent 5 years trying to be better. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need you to know I'm sorry." Emily's breath caught. The sight of him kneeling stirred a storm of emotions, anger, pain, but also a strange calm. She thought of the girls at her school, the dreams she was building. James's apology couldn't undo the past, but it didn't define her anymore. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "James, I forgive you. Not for you, but for me. I'm free now. I hope you find your peace." She turned and walked away, the crowd parting as she rejoined Grace and Lily. James rose and left quietly, his head bowed. The gala continued, but Emily's moment with James spread like wildfire online. X posts called it the ultimate redemption arc, with videos of her speech and James's apology racking up millions of views. Lily tweeted, "Emily Carter didn't just win an award, she won her freedom. #unbroken." Later that night, Emily drove with Grace to a hill overlooking Unity City. The city sparkled below, its skyscrapers and slums a tapestry of struggle and hope. Emily stepped out, her emerald gown catching the breeze. In her mind, she saw her designs worn by women in Paris, Nairobi, New York fluttering like flags of her unbreakable spirit. She thought of Michael, who'd passed away a year ago, his legacy alive in her school. She thought of the girls sketching under mango trees, their dreams taking root. Grace joined her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. You did it, my girl, she said, her voice thick with pride. We did it, Ma, Emily replied, leaning into her. And it's just the beginning. They stood together, the wind carrying their laughter, a testament to a journey that had turned ashes into glory. Unity City lay before them, a canvas for new dreams, and Emily knew her comeback wasn't just hers, it was her people's. Dedicating her award to Grace was a heartfelt culmination of their bond, a moment of gratitude and pride that affirmed Emily's purpose. Her forgiveness of James was a final release, cementing her freedom. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to get more interesting stories like this.